Hi, I'm Terry Strongman at Thuranki Ramaturaka. Thank you for selecting this video on some or other sub-topic under the main topic, self-consciousness. Now, before getting started, if by the end of this you like the video, then please give it a thumb up. And if you haven't done so already, take this time now, please, to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell thingy, share the joy of the channel with others. And those things having been humbly requested, now on with the show. Some or other sub-branch or branch of discussion about self-consciousness. I think I'm going to go ahead and make a series about self-consciousness and overcoming this thing that we call self-consciousness. Yeah, I think I will. I have some sources. Nice old, pretty old, long ago written, leather-bound, a couple leather-bound books that I can draw from. Cure of Self-Consciousness. This is old. Old. Leather-bound. See what I mean? Jelly bean. All right, anyway. By James Alexander. When was this? And these pages are getting dry rotted. I don't see the date. Oh well. Anyway, I got a set of those and some other things I want to, that I want to throw in on my own. So here, just to get started, what do we mean by self-consciousness? I'm not talking about development of awareness of your true self, recognition of your true self, awareness of your truth. That's not what I mean here by self-consciousness. Just being aware of where you're at, or development of false ego, taking away the, relinquishing identity with the false ego. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about that nasty thing, the negative connotation of this term, self-consciousness. You might be a person who is, let's say, overly self-conscious or self-conscious in an unhealthy way. This means for one thing, you second-guess yourself a lot. Another, if you're with people, let's say in a room with people in it, at a party, a gathering, a meeting, whatever, you spend a lot of your time, your mental content, has a large percentage of thoughts about how you're acting, how you're coming across, whether you're fitting in right now, what others are thinking of you. Your own self-image gets involved. And you second guess yourself a lot. You think, you think, all right, what's the most acceptable or appropriate thing to do right now? And right now. And right now. Am I like they are? Oh my goodness. Just this self, I guess in the false ego sense, over, an obsession with concerns over where it fits in with the crowd. Self-consciousness. Am I acting right? Did I say that wrong? Is there something I should apologize for? Would apologizing be overdoing it? Oh my God! This self-consciousness. And, it causes a person to feel a little dissociated. Like they're not really part of the deal going on with the people. It can make you feel like that, if that's the way you are. You feel like you're kind of like an outsider right there on the inside. Right there where you're at. Clearly, if you're sitting at a meeting table or you're at a party, you're not an outsider. You're not standing outside, you're in there, but you feel like you're not really part of it. You're kind of dissociated, in a sense, from yourself. A little dissociation going on there, just a little bit. I think it could get into a bad case of dissociation through life. just, or at least isolation from others, if not kind of like an isolation from yourself. Well, this self-consciousness, this is what I'm talking about. And if you're somebody who feels like you don't fit in, or you've been treated like you're not fitting in, or you have good evidence that you don't seem to fit in well, somehow, in society, or in a group of people that you must be around, for example. That's what I'm talking about here. Now, you can spend a lot of time trying to analyze, trying to get your finger on what it is about you that's causing people to react in such a way that at least you perceive that they react in such a way that indicates that you don't really fit in with them. Or maybe they don't act like that at all, but this is what you believe. You feel like, for some reason, maybe the way you were raised or whatever, maybe you were raised in such a way that caused you to feel like you're not part of people. Something like that. And whatever it is here, you can spend a long time in your life trying to figure out what it is that's really going on. Like, what about you makes it so that maybe when you speak, quite often others don't get what you're saying, but you don't see them having this problem with other people. You have this evidence that for some reason you have to have this self-consciousness going on all the time. You just begin to doubt yourself all the time. All right. You can spend a long time in your life trying to figure all that out. Trying to figure out what the problem is. How to identify it. Even how to come up with this idea of being self-conscious. Or this idea of, well, maybe I don't fit in somehow. And then you got to figure out how you don't fit in. You talk to other people about it, and you get a whole bunch of different answers. In fact, many people will just shy away from answering because talking about such a thing is uncomfortable for them. And they have their own reasons for that. Each has a different reason, maybe, or a different set of reasons. But it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about. It's a hard thing to get for other people to put their finger on. So you spend all this time observing this in life, standing back, trying to be an objective observer, which again is kind of like a soft core version of dissociation. If done long enough, if it becomes the habit, then you have a problem going on with that too. That's another thing to have to get back to normal someday. All right. Or you can not try to figure all that out. Just notice that somehow you seem to be different. And make that not so much of a problem for you. What is the big deal? If you grew up in such a way that you ended up like this as a teenager or in your early 20s, this is just how shit worked out for you because maybe some of your upbringing had to do with it. Who knows? All right? But somehow you just started to feel like an outsider. And then you develop this self-conscious way of thinking about yourself. Well, bringing yourself into doubt over this importance of having to fit in, of fitting in. Now, this can be a big deal, if you're in school and kids ostracize you. These are things that you then have to get past emotionally in order to develop a more rational point of view about this. But I used to be extremely self-conscious. And I tell you, it came down to, for me, getting past that. As a teenager, I was always worried about how people were thinking about me, what people thought of me in general, whether I'm standing in the right way. Am I standing Does the way I'm standing look good, right? Look cool right now? Doesn't it? I mean, I had to kind of like calculate everything I was doing because I was so self-conscious. Now there are other phases of this whole thing too, and other aspects to it that wouldn't even be called self-conscious. You know, a lot of things come together here in my life back then, but one thing that was going on was extreme self-consciousness. Never sure of myself. Okay? What I had to do to overcome it, now in retrospect, I see that it had a lot to do with self-confidence. And another thing, I got past some of this too. Just in certain areas of my life here where it manifested specifically having to do with when somebody told me once at the right time, I guess, you have to learn to be comfortable in your own skin. It took me a little while to figure out what the person might mean by that. Well, I asked, and the person said, I mean literally, in your own skin. And I thought about that, and I thought, man, if there's a connection between that and what I'm dealing with, that's pretty wild. It seemed to me to make sense that there is a connection. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. That's an interesting thing. Once I thought about it, once I heard that. So, maybe I'll have to make a video about just that. Being comfortable in your own skin. That's a pretty tough one to expand on. Because that's a really good way to put it. Getting comfortable in your own skin. There's not really a lot to unpack about that. That is the unpack. You know, that's the bare bones way to put this one thing. Being comfortable in your own skin. Well, this has something also to do, if you might imagine, with has something to do with being present in your mind, attending to what you're doing right now. You know, just doing that. One thing right there. Feeling comfortable in your own skin so that you're not second guessing how it fits, right? On you. Or where you fit in it, right? That's number one right there. Get comfortable in your own skin. Fit in your own skin, right? Stand out in your own skin. Alright, so listen. Then, these things do relate to self-consciousness. If you can get past, if you can beat that one, getting comfortable in your own skin, for example, that, then you're in a better position to get comfortable around other people. Be comfortable around other people. Fit in with them. You know, like, I don't know if this fits here, but, you know, they got the same kind of skin as you do. Anyway. All right, so, yes. Why spend your life trying to figure out the ins and outs of all of this, and by the time you would get it figured out, and figure out, you know, like, what the truth is, what people are really thinking about you, which, as I was going to say, you know, last I said on that was you'll get a lot of different answers. Well, the truth is, you may never get the truth from any one person, or the whole truth, because it's not comfortable for them to talk about it. No, it's not. You might have some really good friend that'll eventually say, you know, I think people kind of see you as this way, maybe until they get to know you. But, you know, like, you've got this standoffishness about you, and then, you know, this other thing that they notice about you. You know, these are the things that have probably got you upset. These are the couple of things that might be behind all this. Then that's just one person's perspective on this. This might be a person who considers themselves, you know, who you consider to be a really good friend because they'll talk about this with you. But then, that's a specific kind of relationship to be having with somebody. It's not the usual. Therefore, you might not be getting what would be the usual answer to your question. even though it may be an honest one from this person. Why put all that much energy into trying to figure out exactly how and how you do not fit in? Good grief. Yeah, that's going to lead to a lot of self-consciousness. You're darn right. Yes, it will. So if you already have this habit, then take steps to develop confidence. Get comfortable in your own skin, right? Get confident in your own skin. Get calm in your own skin. Practice the CAT, the calm attention technique. Practice my consciousness expansion exercise that I just posted here. Put these things together, all right? And develop a sense of standing out. You know, when you stand out, you're not really... You have a different emphasis. You have a different focus on life. You're coming from a different perspective. You want to stand out? Yeah. Well, stand out means stand out a little bit. You know, you're standing out a little bit. Like outside of the rest. You don't have to fit in such a way that you think, whatever way it is that you think is going to alleviate your self-consciousness, your second-guessing yourself, your uncomfortable feeling about your very presence in the world. Whatever it is that you, whatever fitting it is in that you think is going to alleviate that, that's not the kind of fitting in to even be thinking about. It's pointless. You fit in where you fit in. You focus on what you're doing. You focus on standing out in the direction in which you are most likely to stand out among others. You focus on that. Right? You develop that. You do what, you know, you work in the direction that you're going. If it's constructive, if it involves your constructive evolvement, then self-consciousness really doesn't fit in there anywhere. This is a matter of where you're putting your focus, and it's going to be difficult to break the habit of self-consciousness at first. But you must be able to focus. So do any of these things that I've been giving you to do with focus. Train your attention to focus. So you can, how are you going to do that? Upon what objects of focus shall you practice this? The things I'm giving you to do, for example, are great places to learn to focus your attention. That's your number one tool right there, the attention. All right, so if I can wrap this up in a nutshell, don't waste your life energy trying to figure out how you do not quite fit in. Focus instead on what you're doing and on becoming better at what you are. At what you are. Comfortable in your own skin while doing it. You're the one right there. No need to second guess that. Focus on what you're doing rather than on how other people are seeing you. Focus on what you are doing. And employ the rest of this stuff that I'm posting here. Bit by bit. But always with calm attention. Alright. If you like this video, remember, give it a thumb up, please. Remember the rest about subscribing and all of that. Sharing the joy of the channel with others. I'm Turk Strongman at Theron Q Ramacharaka. Thanks again for selecting this video on some subtopic that falls under self-consciousness. Be well.